In about 10 minutes, I'll give you everything I've learned about scientifically growing mushrooms in the last 10 years. This is DIY Biotech. My name is Nick. I have a PhD in bioengineering and I've been working in the biotech field as a consultant and at startups for several years now. And I've also been growing mushrooms on the side. Their biology is super fascinating. And today I want to share sort of the pure control system that you can create pretty affordably at home to grow mushrooms. Growing mushrooms in general is kind of as difficult as brewing beer, if not more difficult, and it's definitely more difficult than gardening. You can throw a cucumber seed in the ground, and if you throw it in really any time of year, there's a good chance, if you live in a decent climate, that you'll get at least a cucumber. Maybe a sad one, but you'll probably get one. Mushrooms aren't like that at all. And there are workarounds in order to more easily grow mushrooms. For example, you can start with kits or bags or things like that to get started really easily. But even those pre-made bags can be kind of difficult to get to fruit at home. Mushrooms need very specific conditions in order to fruit, and every mushroom is a little bit different. If you're really just getting started, I recommend starting with oyster mushrooms. But there are a few different kinds of mushrooms. Some grow normally on trees or symbiotically with trees. Some grow, through wood chips and things like that. So you really need to understand, where that mushroom grows in order to control the substrate as well as the fruiting conditions for that mushroom. So it can get pretty complicated. So unlike growing microorganisms, which I do a lot of on this channel, which really only need temperature control, mushrooms also need humidity control and CO2 control. So we have temperature, humidity, and CO2. Controlling all three of these things at home can't really be done for less than $200. And the main cost of this is the actual CO2 sensor. I got one of these CO2 sensors. I believe they're in the ballpark of $100, $150. I'll leave links to everything in the description below. They'll be Amazon affiliates. It's just the easiest way. Helps out the channel too. Appreciate you if you use those. But the CO2 sensor, just the sensing technology itself is expensive. Even, the brand that I bought, they offer a build your own kit and it's still around $100. It's not that much cheaper than buying a pre-built one. So that is the majority of your cost if you want to control CO2. And stepping back a little bit, these mushrooms need to know the CO2, the humidity, and the temperature in order to fruit, because when those mushrooms come out, they need to know that those spores will be dispersed readily into the wind or to some predator that's going to pick up their mushroom and carry it through the forest, spreading the spores as they go. So anyway, the CO2 control can be monitored with these CO2 sensors. I don't know of any control system that actually incorporates the CO2 sensor in deciding when to turn on a fan, for example, although I'm sure they're out there somewhere. But a box like this has a controllable fresh airflow fan that you can tune, and I'll show that as well. So CO2, you need the CO2 sensor, you need a fresh airflow fan. For the humidity control right here, I have a humidifier hooked up to this box, and then you need the temperature control as well. And I don't have this temperature controlled because I feel like honestly, that's tertiary relative to CO2 and humidity, but I have one of these little seedling heating mats that you can get pretty cheap, and then you can hook it up to something that's very commonly used in the DIY biotech world, and that is an InkBird temperature controller. I think that's the name brand, but it's probably still the cheapest, most reliable one you can get. You can use these things to turn like deep chest freezers into temperature controlled boxes. I've created an incubator out of a freezer that I found on the side of the road. Maybe that's an older video you can go try to dig up. But anyway, these are the control systems. In the DIY version of this, you can literally just get one of these boxes or storage bin, like a clear storage bin from Walmart for like $15. I am fortunate enough to be supported by Northsport, where they sent me some stuff to try out, and then I have a referral code if you want to use it, or a link to their site. They always have like a 10% discount on their site, but you can use my code. The code doesn't help me at all, but clicking on the link does help, just to be clear. So that's an affiliate link as well, but you can get one of these boxes and drill holes in it at Walmart for honestly about the same price. So this particular kit that I got had the box with the holes and the stickers for the sterile filters and the fan and the humidity controller, the humidifier. So not a bad deal for around $100, but you know, do what you want. I'm sure you could DIY a slightly cheaper version if you wanted to. But anyway, these are all of the features of this box. If I were to be super scientific about things, I would also hook up the InkBird temperature controller and that temperature heating mat as well. But in this case, again, I don't think that's very necessary. So this is all to say, you know, growing mushrooms is really difficult. You need all of these parameters controlled, but to make it as easy as possible, I've sort of theorized this strategy of sort of walking backwards, because actually the last stages in mushroom growing are the easiest, interestingly enough. If you buy like a bag kit, you can get any kind of bag kit. Northsport has them, but there's a bunch out there, and you can probably find them like in grocery stores now too. But you get this bag of inoculated substrate, and you just cut a slit in it, and you're supposed to spray it with a water bottle every day. These kinds of boxes really ensure that the fruiting will happen. In fact, this one came with this little brochure that tells you, you know, the CO2 threshold, the temperature, and the humidity needed to fruit for each species. You can look that up online too, but the graphics in this are nice. So anyway, you can look those up. So that's the easiest, is just starting with a bag, cutting a slit in it, and spraying it every day. And then, of course, you're going to get more consumed into this hobby. And so walking backwards from that would be buying a spore syringe, inoculating a bag with the spore syringe. And then, you know, that requires some sterile technique, but things have been kitified enough that it's not that hard. I also have this thing called the knock box from Northsport. It's pretty chill. It's just a still air box. If you want to look up on how to make a still air box, there's plenty of videos on that. And then backwards from that is you can start growing petri dishes of mushrooms. So I actually have one here. Let's see how this is growing. So they also gave me like a plastic degrading strain of fungi, which is cool, as well as a glow in the dark mushroom, which is really cool. But you can just grow mushrooms on petri dishes. And then the very hardest thing to do in the mushroom cultivation world is to grow liquid culture. Growing anything in liquid is more prone to contamination and less obvious that the contamination is there. So that's when it gets really, really hard. So, you know, check out my channel if you want to see details on like how to cultivate mushrooms at those sort of expert levels. Basically, the analog is just looking up how to grow bacteria or yeast. That's about as hard as mushrooms are going to be. Mushrooms might be a little bit harder depending on the species because they grow slower. So, you know, that's my advice. If you want to get into mushrooms, start with those kits and work your way backwards. And then if you really want to get scientific about fruiting different mushrooms and really controlling and being certain that something will fruit when you want it to fruit, you got to get one of these either bins, like build one of these bins, or you need to get like a growing tent and have a sensor in there with good airflow throughout the entire thing. Remember, last tip, CO2 sinks. So all of the CO2 concentration is going to be at the bottom and there's going to be less at the top. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, you can become a channel member if you like this kind of stuff. If you like these kind of yapping videos, please let me know in the comments below. You know, I think people are liking them more than I thought they would. And it's either I make these kinds of videos or I don't make any videos at all with the current schedule that I have. So let me know if you like these kinds of videos. If you have any mushroom growing advice, you can leave it in the comments below, or any experience, you can leave it in the comments below. Any experience with particular brands, I would be happy to hear. I'm just getting started working with these guys, so I'm still testing out things. But I'd be happy to hear your feedback. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.